Hello dear friends, welcome to another video of the Never Do Through the GUI what you can do through the CLI channel. I am Vangelis Prokopiou and you are watching Connecting Rust to Microsoft SQL Server on Linux. I wanted to tackle this subject first of all for myself because as you may know from watching my videos, I'm very interested in Rust. And this is an issue that I wanted to resolve for myself. The issue is how Rust can interface with the Microsoft SQL Server, and this is because in my work we use a Microsoft stack, and Microsoft SQL Server is the database that we use. So in order to be able to use Rust sometime in the future, hopefully, first of all, we have to be able to communicate with the Microsoft SQL Server. Now, the problem is that I searched on the internet and I couldn't find many resources, and the resources I found were not complete. For example, if we search for Rust SQL Server, I think this is the best thing that I found here, with this guy saying that he uses this ODBC crate, which is this crate ODBC. And there are some instructions for using this crate, and this is what I actually used, but I had to modify this in order to make it work. So I want to step through the process with you in order to show you how I did it, and maybe this will be helpful for you too. Now, let's come here first of all. And this is the Rust code. First of all, no, let's start differently. If I run docker ps, you will see that I have this one running, Hardcore Shannon. I don't know if you can see it. This one up 8 minutes now, and it is Microsoft SQL Server 2019 latest. So this is the Microsoft SQL Server that I'm running currently on this system, on this Linux system. And we can check it out here. I don't know if you can see, but here this is the server, and I have created a test database, and in this test database I have a table users, and let's see the users. If we run this, these are the contents of the users table. I have also created an SP, so if we execute the get users SP, the result is the same. So we have an SQL server running, up and running, and we are ready to connect to it through Rust. So, as I said, the base was the ODBC crate, so I close all to the right. I declared this as a dependency here, plus the envlogger that it was included here, and what I did was to copy paste this code. But I had a problem. Let me take this and I will show you where the problem was. So if I paste the code here, you will immediately see that we have a problem here, and the problem is that wrong type parameter number. This is an error, and I had a couple of more errors here with the data and non-data, but these were easily resolved by importing the data structures that I needed. But this was the pressing problem that I had, and I could not compile this code. Now this was resolved by changing this. So if I run a git diff and we come here, this is the code that is included in the example code of the ODBC crate, but this is how I had to modify it in order to be able to build this code. If we come here and we check it, this is the code, function execute statement, this code, but I had to modify it and do it like this. Okay, this was the main problem. So let's reset and recheck the code. We come here and you see the execute statement function. We had to provide the type of argument here, that it is this kind of argument to the connection. Yes, this was one pressing problem. Now, another problem that I got during the compiling of the code is that I was missing this package, this unixodbc-dev. So you yourselves got to install this package in order to be able to compile this code. So after changing this part of the code and installing this package, I was able to build the code. Let's come here and let's cargo build. As you can see, now the code builds without errors. So let's come back here, and then I had to achieve the actual connection to the database. Now the problem is that I had no idea how I could achieve this, how to connect to the database. I had no idea how the connection string should look like, etc., etc. Finally, I indeed found out how the connection string should look like, and this is the one. I will get back to it. But another problem I had is that I didn't know how this part should be structured, if I should provide a driver, because there is no example about how you actually connect to the server through the connection string. So I was trying various stuff. I didn't know if I had to provide a driver property in the connection string, etc., etc., etc. So I had two problems. I didn't know if this part, the driver, should be provided, one, and second, I didn't know if I have the ODBC driver on Linux, or if there is such a driver on Linux. So after searching a little bit, I came to this URL, which is a Microsoft official URL, and if we come here, we have instructions on how to install the ODBC driver for Linux. So of course I had to install this driver, and you have to install this driver if you are on Linux. And then I resolved this problem. I was sure that I had this ODBC driver. And the next part was to formulate correctly my connection string. So now let's come back to this connection string. And as you can see, we have to provide the driver, then we have to provide the server. In this specific case, it's the localhost. We have to provide the database. We have to provide the user. In this case, it's the root user. Since I am running a local container, I'm not interested in the security aspect of the connection. Plus, you have to provide the password for this user. Now, let's see this in action. So after resolving all these issues, I was able to run the application, and we will do it too now. We will say cargo run, and we see that we reach this part which says please enter SQL statement string. If we check out our code, this part is here within this execute statement function, and we are right here waiting to provide the SQL statement. So let's come here and try some things. Let's say select star from users. As you can see, we have success. So let's rerun and let's say select star from users order by one descending, and we have again success. Let's rerun and let's say that we want to select last name ID from users, and we have a success. Let's say that we want to select first name from users. Success. Now let's try our SP exec get users. Again, we have a success. Let's try to modify this this procedure, and let's come here and let's say that we want to alter the procedure get users as select star from users this. Let's run this. Okay, let's exec it. Okay, we got everything now. Let's order by one descending to be sure. It was altered. Let's execute, and you can see that now we have a reversed order. So now let's try our code, and we will say again exec get users, and you see that we have everything in reverse order. Let's rerun again and let's say select get date. As you can see, we executed a built-in command of the SQL Server. We have again success. Let's say select as username. No. Select users, current user, DBO. Select current user. Let's try this. tbo, we got a success. Select, let's say, select as user ID. Let's try this. 1, copy, let's come here, let's rerun. Please enter SQL string, select user ID 1. As you can see, we have a complete solution. We are connecting to our SQL server, even though it runs in Docker. It doesn't matter because we have mapped the inner port of the Docker to the same port on our machine. If I'm not mistaken, it's 1433, and we are accessing the server like it is running indeed on our localhost. Now, I don't know, I am not very experienced, I don't know if this code is the best code that we could write to connect to the SQL server, but as I said, this was something that I wanted to pursue myself, to try to resolve it, because I would be really happy if we could use Rust at work in the future. And in order to do that, to achieve that, first of all, we have to be able to communicate with the SQL server. If there's no way to communicate with the SQL server, Rust is not an option. So I did this, I resolved this, I learned a couple of things along the way, and I hope that you will find this useful yourselves too. Now the code is not available publicly, but I will upload it to GitHub soon so that you can check it out yourselves and take it and connect to the SQL server yourselves in the project. So this is in fact all the info that I wanted to share with you in this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like the content of this channel. Thank you for watching and have a great day.